Thank you for joining us for Chatting in the Void, a conversational podcast hosted by Cthulhu, TILLY, and Hallik.
Hello. We're live again.
We are live.
Somehow. We're not like super not on time this time. Like we're only, 20 minutes late.
Ever so slightly. Yeah.
We're only like 20 minutes late. We're only 20 minutes late. That's not that bad. We'll have I have a couple of things that we need to talk about in the future that might become something that we want to talk about. But specifically, there is a story that my moderator has to tell on the podcast sometime. Really fucking funny and also a little bit unsettling. But we can get into that later. At some point, I think Spark is going to come over during the podcast, and maybe we can do it at that time. Because now, the exciting news of the week for me is I moved out.
Straight to it.
I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready to talk about it. I moved out, so I am now in my own apartment right now. I did a test stream on was it Tuesday night, Wednesday night? I think it was Tuesday night.
Yeah, I saw you doing League.
Yep, I played some League on Tuesday night with some people on stream.
In the ass crack of dawn itself, like 3 a.m.
Yeah. It was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. for me. I wanted to do a test stream and I couldn't sleep because I was really excited. And also because I was a little bit stressed because I didn't get to change my locks that day. I have since changed my locks and I've been sleeping better since I was able to change my locks, to be honest.
You had just ever so slight chance of somebody sneaking in.
Yeah. And I just didn't like that. Anyways,
so wait, you're trying to tell me that you don't like it when people can randomly walk into your home?
I don't. It's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable feeling, I think it would be fine maybe if I were into some certain things, but I'm not into those things.
I thought you were. That's what's throwing me off. See, today I've learned something new about Tilly.
No. I don't even know if I can say that on stream. Holy shit. Okay. Whatever. Not into CNC. Anyways.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Anyways. So that's pretty exciting. And today, before the podcast, I moved a couch in, and it's a giant couch, and we barely got it in, but we did get it in. So I now have a giant couch in my living room, and that's pretty exciting. So
hopefully you don't have to take the couch out.
I do not. I actually, I think getting it out, ironically enough, will be a little bit easier than getting it in was.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that is what she said.
Yes.
Anyways, for a lot of reasons, mostly the angles involved.
That's also what she said. But go on.
That is. I know.
Getting it all out of the way.
Anyways, so that's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting for me. I'm in my own space right now, and it's slowly coming together. Like it's not perfect, but it is slowly coming together. So yeah.
Nice, Sue.
Yeah. Anything exciting happened to you this week?
I mean, other than the Pico Park collab that we both have later,
yes.
Not much else really. You want to talk to us about like your whole moving process a little more before we go on to a different subject?
Yeah. So, first of all, I made a minor tactical error. It was fine though. Nothing too crazy happened from it.
Okay.
So they didn't let me get my keys until like noon or 1. It was 1
noon
on my move-in day.
Okay.
1 p.m. on my move-in day. So I only had a half day to I only took like a half day off to move in to work to move in. I worked half that day, And so we were basically still getting stuff settled in here at like 11 p.m. Or that's like when I finally got everything really settled. It was like 11 p.m. and ready to go.
Right.
Which wasn't too bad, which is why I streamed. Like I was expecting it to be later, but I was able to get everything in, and I think like 99% of my stuff came over then. I have a little bit more to set up. I'm probably gonna set it up tonight after the collab, actually.
All right.
A little bit more configuration, but it's just like my god, I spent like the whole weekend tearing my room apart. It was exhausting. Yeah, I had so much stuff to put in boxes. I got all my clothes in boxes.
Isn't there like an indie game that came out recently that's about moving? It's about like moving out to a new place and like unpacking things. I've seen a bunch of VTubers playing, and I need to.
Oh yeah. I have that game. I should play that game sometime.
Yeah, I can relate to it.
It's
Apparently, it tells like a little story too with the whole moving thing.
Is it Unpack? I can't remember what it's called. It might just be Unpacked. I don't know. I have it on Steam. It's really very soothing, very enjoyable.
That's
played
the kind of
it.
vibes that I'm getting from it. Yeah.
Yeah, I played it. It's very chill. I liked it. So yeah, that is it. It is a fun game. I do recommend it.
How much is it? Because I was thinking about getting it.
I think it's like $15.
$15? Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's actual content. It's not just like empty. There's actual content. So.
Okay, I'll have to look into it because $15 for just an unpacking thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds off.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There. I mean, it's. I don't know if anything else happens, but it was enjoyable. I played it like for like an hour or two. I don't think I would play it much longer than that, but yeah.
So, do you have any like issues with moving other than your couch?
No, actually.
Every time I moved, like when I moved in to a new place with my mom, we would something would go wrong. It starts raining really hard or starts snowing really hard. Something breaks.
Oh, actually,
okay.
There was one thing. Thing, which is my apartment is in a building that Google Maps does not appear to know exists. So when you put in my address, it won't bring you to the building. It'll bring you close, it must be said, but not to the building. And so everybody coming here got lost the first night. And I had to like run half a mile to go like track down where people were and guide them back and give them directions because nobody was answering my phone calls. And I was just like,
gotta love that.
Yeah. Anyways, I have since fixed it. This time with the couch, when people were coming out, I went on Google Maps and I dropped a ping on my building, and it's a completely different address number than like what my building's address number actually is.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, so that's kind of weird. But it's perfectly fine. Like that was like the one thing is like I arrived and I unloaded like half my car alone before anybody else arrived. And I'm like, where is everybody? Like, I drive fast, but not that fast. Like I'm a speedy guy, but I'm not that speedy.
I don't want to get in the car with you.
And so my mom calls me and she's like, I'm on like 17th Avenue and I think I've gone too far. And I'm like, 17th Avenue? What? That's not even the right road. Like, I don't know how you got there or why, but that's not where you're supposed to be. Anyways, and so finally I got them all wrangled and everybody showed up at my new apartment and we got everything unloaded and up, and I put my desk together and my computer together and my bed together and everything is all set, and it actually is. It's pretty nice. It's pretty cozy. I like it. It's nice, bigger than I thought it would be. And,
that's also what she said. Go on.
And I like the kitchen. It's been good.
Okay.
Good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're at your own new place now. You're gonna stop stressing about like with everything in general, or like are you?
Yeah.
Have you managed
Ironically
to
enough,
chill
like
for a
I
moment?
feel like I moved out, and low key, my anxiety is already better to deal with.
Nice.
Like
Yeah.
just
'Cause
having my
you were
own
a
place.
fucking mess. You were a
Yeah.
fucking mess like the past few weeks.
Yeah, having my own place just, I don't know, made it so much easier to just go with everything, and be chill about it. So yeah, I don't know. It's I like it. I think it's cool.
So do you live near? Do you now live closer to like some friends, that can come over
Uh
and hang out, or further
I
now?
live closer to Spark, who's one of my friends.
Okay.
And hopefully Spark is gonna come hang out. I think maybe tomorrow. I don't know if that still works for her. But my other friends, my main friend group, they're still about the same distance away. But the main quality of life improvement here is I am now 10 minutes away from work instead of like
Oh, okay.
30 to
Cool.
40. And so
That's
that
so
is
convenient.
huge.
Yeah.
And like that extra 40 minutes in the
30
day,
minutes. Yeah.
40 minutes in the day of not driving is, I don't know, like gives me so much more energy. I like driving, but I just feel so much better. That's part of it. And then the other part is like I get to get home and I don't have to deal with anybody. I can just sit down and do my own thing and then pick up streaming when I want to. And I also right now, like obviously I have to worry about like neighbors and stuff like that, but I'm not super loud generally. Like I don't scream or yell. So I feel like if I'm normally talking in a normal talking voice, I don't think that's going to bother anybody here at like the later hours. At least so far, nobody has during my streams. And
Well,
so
worst case scenario, you can buy this like foam thing so you can put on the wall. I have a bunch.
Yeah, luckily I don't have my room, the room that I chose. I'm really happy about the situation, like the positioning of it, because I am bordered by a second room in my own apartment on one side, a second room in my own apartment on the other side, and
you
then
can be so fucking loud. Holy shit!
Yeah, and then
Tully's gonna bring a girl over and it's like, hey, do you want to check my gaming station?
And then
be like,
yeah,
you're gonna get closer to her and be like, I can be as loud as I want. No one can notice.
And then to my right, there is also so two of my walls are adjoined to other rooms in my apartment. My other two walls are exterior walls in my room. Oh so literally the only thing I have to worry about is downstairs neighbors.
Yeah, but like you could be so fucking
yeah.
The Tilly's gonna have girls over all the time now too. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
But so the reason I asked,
I haven't reactivated my dating apps yet, but it is coming.
So the reason I asked is, I guess this is a message now to Spark. Spark, don't let this man drink so much fucking Mountain Dew. Holy shit!
I don't drink that much Mountain Dew.
Dude, you just told me you were drinking cola.
I am drinking Coke.
You had one chance to like redeem yourself and have like, I don't know, some water, maybe have some tea. Now that you're out of Mountain Dew, what's the first thing you go to?
To be fair, today I got home last night at like 2 in the morning.
Okay.
From rock climbing. I got up this morning at 7. I went over, I did some errands, I cleaned, and then I drove to go have breakfast with some friends, and then went and got a couch, and then moved a couch. So I've already been up for like 10 hours, and I need the energy because I'm working on like 4 hours of sleep. Not that that's that abnormal to me, but I need the caffeine. I just do. I need the caffeine.
Oh my god, Tully.
No, it's not good.
Fucking maniac. Just drink some fucking coffee then. Get yourself a coffee.
I don't like coffee. Makes me sick.
God. Every time, man. I don't know. I need to get normal fucking coffee liking friends, honestly. Everybody I talk to is like, I don't like coffee.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck's sakes. All right, well.
I mean, like,
you guys.
It's not that I don't like coffee. It's that coffee makes my stomach upset. It's not like a like-dislike thing. It's like my body rejects it on every level thing. So.
I mean, how bad could it be when you're drinking fucking like 10 cups of coffee worth of caffeine from soda? But
you would be surprised.
I guess that's true, since you have indeed surprised me quite often in this podcast, Tilly.
My stomach can handle the intensity of cola, but it cannot handle coffee. Which coffee is actually more acidic than most sodas.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the next subject. Is there anything you want to talk to before we go? We start conversing about the next thing.
I still haven't played Overwatch 2.
Okay. Yeah, but you were busy with the moving, so you're fine.
I was. Yeah.
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 And then today you're gonna be extra busy after the podcast.
Yeah.
No more maybe next week then the Overwatch can happen.
Maybe we'll see.
We need to listen to your expert advice on.
Yeah, I need to have a full, which is probably gonna be like, it's fine, whatever.
All right,
I don't care that much.
This has been a big subject that's been coming up in the VTubing community.
Yes.
And it has to do with AI art.
Okay.
You heard of this?
I don't know the specifics with the VTubing community. I do know about AI art though.
Okay. So I've heard of AI art myself too, but recently the important one is it's been like a new thing that's been coming out. So basically you put in a bunch of stuff, you put in a bunch of keywords and it generates art for you, and I think you can also feed it your art. I'm not so sure. I thought that you would know about this, so that's why I didn't look it up.
Yes, you can feed it art, and you can also put in like Google search terms too. And the Google search terms will automatically like look up art on Google Images. So it's like you can put in like Wyoming warrior, and there are AIs that will look up art for that and images for that and then generate artwork based on that.
Yeah. So the reason that I'm bringing AI art up is because in recent, like the past month or so, a lot of VTubers have been using this to generate like thumbnails, generate just art in general of their models to like to use for like stuff because honestly, being a VTuber, when you're trying to be a content creator and your model is a literal piece of artwork, it's kind of hard to like just do little things like thumbnails and stuff. So this has been a very useful tool, but at the same time it's actually brought a lot of like drama. More specifically, some VTubers have tried to pass this art as actual handmade art that they've done themselves. And it's like been causing a lot of drama lately. What are your thoughts, basically? Have you heard of this at all?
I have not heard of that aspect, but I can definitely see how that could become a thing, that people could take credit for that. And like, on one hand, it's not the problem isn't like plagiarism, right?
Okay.
Because you're not taking credit for the work of another person. The problem is just the lie in general. I don't like that.
Yeah, the lie in general would be.
Yeah, it's still a problem for sure.
There's been a big like, so I'm keeping tracks really closely of like the VTubing community. It's in Twitter, especially since I'm a new content creator and I'm like trying to get to meet people and whatnot. Yeah. But there was a big VTuber who just got like basically canceled for trying to pass AI art as his own. Yeah. and it started this rampant conversation on whether or not this is good. There's like a lot of mainstream VTubers that have said that this AI generated art is not art at all. But there's also like the smaller content creators that are like really like the people who can actually make a lot of use of this are are like in support of it, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
It's interesting because I am kind of I can see both sides, but I'm kind of conflicted here. So on one side, I get it that like it's not art in the same way, as in, a human did not put the hours of effort and imagination into creating that piece of art. And I can see that as kind of a problem for the community, especially when like I'll say this. This is actually related because I live in the state in which it happened. The Colorado State Fair has an art contest, right?
Right.
And this year, there were 11 people who entered 18 pieces of art in the contest for judging, and an AI art piece won.
Okay.
And
but
so,
like, do you know more context on it? Like, did he just generate it completely, or he like touched it up? Or like, to what degree are we talking about here?
He generated it and then he touched it up.
Okay.
He did make changes. He did make edits, and also he went through many revisions trying to achieve his vision. So there is that like this wasn't the reason why I think that particular one is fine in this instance is because the person who created it did put in a lot of effort into achieving a specific image that he was trying to get. Like, it wasn't like he just fed a bunch of terms into an AI engine, printed out a piece of paper, slapped it in a frame, and entered it in a contest and won, right? I don't think that would work. So I am conflicted on this because of that nature, because of the nature of, I feel like it would be hard to achieve that level of, I'll say, that level of quality art without trying and putting effort in and revising your terms, the artwork that you're feeding into it, and stuff like that. And then as well as a little bit of editing that you on a digital canvas. But at the same time, it is not the same as sitting down with pen and paper and paint or markers or pens or whatever you're using for your coloring and doing it by hand. It's not the same. It does not require the same level of technical skill nor the same level of time and effort entered into the product. So that's kind of why I don't like the people who take that art and then claim it as their own, is because it's like there are people who can create art as complicated or more complicated than what these AI are doing. Because obviously the point of it is the AI are attempting to emulate what people do, right? But those people spend hundreds or thousands of hours perfecting their trade.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
And that I feel like that should never be diminished. Like, it has to be said that like the AI arts are good, don't get me wrong, and some of them are really believable to the point where it's like, wow, a person didn't do that, that's crazy. But it's not the same. It's not the same level of effort, not the same level of skill that went into developing those art pieces, other than the programming side of things. If somebody programmed their own AI to do that. But that's an incredibly difficult task. It requires even more skill.
Yeah.
So
that's its own, like, someone like,
so that's like the other element here is programming an AI to be able to do something like that is so ludicrously complex and nuanced that I feel like that also is an achievement in its own right that should be celebrated. Because holy shit, like, I'm just thinking about it. The idea is, when it comes to computers, garbage in means garbage out. If you input stuff that makes no sense, you're going to get stuff that makes no sense out of it. And what's wild about these art AIs is they're getting increasingly, from what I've seen just in the thing, because I've been paying attention tangentially to just the scene in general, although not the VTuber specific stuff or people taking credit for it. I've just been paying attention to like the infrastructure side of things. And the fact that they're getting so much better already at gleaning valuable information out of other art to pull, to add to their own, without adding like the garbage, without adding the stuff that's going to create dissonance or problematic pieces of artwork that don't make any sense or non-comprehensible, is actually quite fascinating. Like the fact that they're getting that good at that particular task of creating, of rejecting the garbage and only taking that which is good out of a specific piece is astonishing to me. But anyways,
so I'm reading here as to why it's so popular in the VTubing community. It says here that, so I'm reading some Reddit threads here real quick, trying to learn a little bit more. It's that it is extremely good at generating anime art, but not so good at IRL art at all. And I could see why, because I'm looking at some comparisons here of like of someone just, you know, of just a man holding a book, like a realistic, and you can tell that it's like the skin is very diffused. You can tell that the hands are also weird, and that's one of the big points where they catch which ones are art and which ones are not. It's like the AI struggles a lot with the hands, but when it comes to like anime characters, it just like nails them really well. So I can see why it is so popular now in the VTubing community.
Yeah, I can see that too, because lots of anime-esque art style in that community, just inherently, because a lot of the people are that. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna crop this real quick, and then I'm gonna throw the piece up that won the art competition, just so that everybody can kind of see it and understand what I'm talking about in the layer of, it is very clear to me in just looking at this that the person who did it, the person who quote unquote created this work of art, created this, put effort into it, and it was not just like a random fluke. They definitely were looking for something specific. So let me go ahead and throw that up here. Anyways, did you have any other thoughts on the subject?
Oh yeah, there's more stuff that I want to talk about for sure. A lot of like because you know, I look for a long time for an artist to commission my work for, right? So a lot of these, like, no, I don't want to say tier, but like lesser known or, you know, less commissioned artists are complaining a lot about this stuff, and I can see why. Like, this AI threatens like the commissions market for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
But it's a matter of, like, you know, if it's kind of like, if you like the real world parallel of it, it's like the people who like work at a factory, and then the boss buys like a machine that does their job, right? So now
I was about to mention the transition in the Industrial Revolution from man factories to robot factories, and how it's very similar, that it's like, if you can create a robot or an AI that can do the job of somebody, that robot AI automated process will always be cheaper to maintain and have than somebody on staff. And the same thing is true about the gig economy, the which is obviously the art economy, where people are being paid per gig, per work of art, or per, you know, commission type thing. And in that economy, it's the same thing, where it's like, if you can create an automated process to fill that, you don't have to have a person there. At the same time, I don't know. I mean, I think that right now, probably AI will never get that sophisticated to be able to like automatically generate, or at least not, I don't want to say never, because obviously saying never is wrong. Eventually they will be, but AI are a ways away from being able to generate like full 3D or, you know, 2D live VTuber stuff. Like, that's so detailed and rigging.
There's a lot more to it. For sure.
There's a lot more to it than just creating the artwork, but creating that artwork is definitely something that people get commissions for. And I mean, like, as you can see, I just threw it up on the stream a minute or two ago. That's the artwork that won the Colorado State
that looks
Fair.
like that looks like diffused art.
Yeah.
That's the
yeah. It's very diffused, but also like it's so detailed and so interesting, and it's full of like, it's just full of, I don't know how to say it other than detail. It's so flush and clear that I can see why it won. It's very beautiful.
So here's the thing, and the big thing about me comparing this to the Industrial Revolution, and workers, you know, losing their jobs because of machines, right? So the argument when that happened was that, okay, well, if the machines are taking over these jobs that like nobody wants to technically do because they're like chore kind of jobs, right? Then the argument was that, well, if people can now have more time to invest, and it becomes more profitable to invest into people who work on like the arts, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of like the whole thing. It's like people now have more time to study art, to study music, to study drawing and art, and just art stuff in general, right? Because machines are taking over the jobs like farming, assembling, you know, stuff like that, right? But that argument doesn't translate very well when now it's artists themselves who are getting threatened, by whose livelihood is getting threatened because there's a team of, you know, computer scientists that created an AI that can make anime art really well, or less good enough to a point where like somebody can just touch it up a little bit and it comes out like really good.
Clean.
Yeah. Like if you go to Twitter and you type noble AI or hashtag stable diffusion, that's what I'm looking at right now. Like at first glance, if you scroll through this very quickly, you could not tell that these are like AI arts, especially the posts of people that like clean up the final product. You cannot tell.
Yeah.
Sometimes you cannot tell, and it's just crazy to me now. Like, so what would happen now then? So computers are now taking over. The machines have taken over the factory jobs and the farming jobs and even the construction jobs to some extent, right? And this is a trend that's going to keep going. It's only going to get more and more and more automated, right?
Yep.
So, but what if art becomes automated? You know, what then? What leaves us to do, in a sense, right? Like, I don't want to go as far as saying like the whole Wall-E situation, you know, where humankind is just like riding around, lazing around, doing nothing, you know, because we're not at that point. It's going to take a very, very long time and a lot of technological advancements you get before we get to that. But is that really the direction that the world is heading to, you know? This is a really small problem right now that the B2B community is facing, right? Because in the grand scheme of things, this is just a piece of software that somebody came up with. But it is the start of something big, I feel. You know, it is the start of that transition process of like technology taking over more and more aspects of just, you know, of being a human, of doing things as a human,
and
right?
And in the same breath, I will always say, just like even though a ton of factory jobs were replaced by automated workers, there were also a bunch of jobs for people still in factories.
Yeah, I understand.
And so
like, there's people who need to maintain the machines, and there's people who like need to do management stuff. Right.
And they're even and that also includes these AIs to some degree, because the reality is that these AIs, they're not creating something from scratch. And arguably neither are humans, but it's like in factories, for example, one of the things that AIs are bad at is tasks that are different each time. So, like, for example, AIs are not very good at sanding burrs off of metal objects. And the reason why is because on machine manufactured metal objects, the burrs are always in different places. And it's like, that's a job that oftentimes they have people do. And the reason why they have people do that is because people can see with their eyes and do stuff like that. And robots are just not good at that yet. They're not sophisticated at that yet. And so I feel like we're going to run to the same thing here, where it's like there will be elements of art where AI just won't be able to do it like humans can. At least for a while longer. We're not quite there yet to the point where AI can just take over art in general. They may take over certain elements of it, just like, you know, putting car doors together is almost entirely automated in AI now, because it's a repeatable task that can be done consistently in the same thing. But at the same time, you also need error checking and all of that stuff. So kind of like this guy who won the AI contest, or the art contest with the AI art.
The art contest.
Yeah. He used his human intuition to be able to determine this is a good piece of art. And he edited it and did things to it and made changes. And so like those elements.
It wasn't just pick up a random thing and then throw it in. Like there was thought put behind it. Right.
Yes.
But I don't think that was the whole point of the contest to begin with, right? Like they didn't.
Right.
I'm assuming that the people who made the contest, they were expecting human-made art, because that's kind of like something that's taken for granted. It's like when you think, 10 years ago, Tully, when I would ask you to think about art, you would just take for granted that you meant art created by a human, because there was just no such thing as anything else other than art created by a human. But
and
now
we're talking about a state fair, right? We're talking about a state fair. So also something that's not particularly, we'll say, savvy with technology. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's very interesting to see that happening, to see AI starting to even be able to fringe into these things, as we've started seeing AI be able to write, AI be able to, obviously do fine art, AI being able to do all of these things, generate valuable products that way. And that's a very interesting area for the market to go. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I don't think that it'll ever push humans out, because I feel like no matter what happens, there will always be a desire for art to be made by skilled humans, by skilled people. I think that'll always be a thing. And part of that is because, like, even today, where, right, I'll use this as an example because it's a great example. Probably one of the most automated manufacturing processes that we have now is cars. And handmade cars, like Ferraris, are so expensive now, not just because they're Ferraris, but also because that handmade touch is part of the draw to it. So it's almost like, in its same breath, while maybe the less skilled artists will be pushed out by AI, there will always be a market for incredibly skilled artists to do what they do, no matter what.
Right.
It just might become a smaller market, which is unfortunate in some ways. Because, it is taking away a joy or a passion that somebody could possibly make money from. But I don't know. It's a very interesting.
It's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
It's tough not... because as a tech guy, I love computers.
You love the technology. You love the tech. Yeah, you love the technology.
I love the technology.
I love the science behind it too, because as somebody who wrote a AI for college, like, I know the insane amount of work and like training that you have to do, and like just the amount of math and science that goes behind an algorithm like this is so cool to me. So I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is tough, because you don't want to like go up to someone and be like, hey, I just made this computer software that basically replaces the years. We're not there yet, but it replaces the years of effort that you've put into art, right?
Yeah.
So it is tough.
It is tough for sure. I wonder. It also does bring up another curious and interesting thing. So, first of all, huge fan of Isaac Asimov, who delves into these kind of things a lot in his novels.
He write 18...
No, 1984 is George Orwell.
That's somebody
Isaac
else.
Asimov.
He wrote iRobot.
Yeah, iRobot. Yep, iRobot and the Robot series. And so iRobot and all of its sequels and prequels are all basically an expose into when does an AI become a human.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently, I haven't finished it yet. I need to listen to it more. I started Blade Runner, or technically the book that Blade Runner is based on, which is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? And those are both stories that heavily delve into that philosophical idea of what makes a human. And one of the fundamental things is like the thing that humans would have never imagined to be able to be automated would certainly be the arts.
Yeah.
Writing, drawing, philosophy. The idea of coming up with an idea on your own and then putting it out into the world is something that is very interesting. That creative element that is like part of a lot of people's, I guess, definition of what makes humans humans. And so, and what makes us different than just animals and AI and all sorts of stuff like that. And so if AI start being able to do that, what does that mean for humanity in general, for that philosophy? And it's very interesting because, like, obviously, that's part of Blade Runner, is that aspect of, well, androids that can do those things, that can be creative, are illegal on Earth because of that. Because it challenges what does it mean to be human. And the people in charge don't like that. Don't like that challenge of what does it mean to be human. So it's very interesting. I don't know. It's fascinating. Very fascinating.
For sure. So I've been trying to like get it to generate something for me, because apparently it's not even that hard. It's just really just a website. That's the crazy part. And I'm like just throwing it out there, just checking it out. I there's a subreddit for it too, where you can like see what other people are making and see what they are what like words that they're putting in. So if you find something that you like, you can just look at their prompt. So here, I'll just send it to you. And then I'm looking at this.
Are you using Stable Diffusion?
Yeah, the Stable Diffusion thing.
Okay.
Here, I'll link it to you real quick. And
I'm already already on Stable Diffusion. The one that I have been following more closely is DALL-E 2, which is OpenAI. DALL-E 2 is Google's. They're the ones who developed the AI behind DALL-E 2. And
but this
DALL-E
site that I'm
2,
in, it also has it too. Like you can change algorithms here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not even just one algorithm. It's like it's like different ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And so DALL-E 2 is all about that. I think DALL-E 2 might be a closed beta though. I think that you need to request access to get it. It's not just
Let me see algorithm. No, it's right here. So I'm in Night Cafe Studio, and it's letting me pick DALL-E 2.
Okay.
Yeah. It says new, so well, obviously it is new.
Yeah, DALL-E 2 is newer.
So this is like really interesting. This site kind of like prevents me from like generating too many of them.
Right.
There's like a credit system to them, but just from signing in, you can like make a few things already, and nothing's stopping you from just making another free account and then using that when you're out of credits.
Yeah.
So this is quite interesting.
Yeah. It is, because like you can put in keywords or images.
Yeah. So because I'm here, like I'm trying to get like, let's say, a thumbnail for like a YouTube video. Let's say that I want that, right? And what's funny to me is that when I first tried it, it didn't work out at all. It didn't even give me a like a character. It didn't even give me like a person. It gave me like a landscape kind of thing. So there are prompts that you have to like prioritize to make it so that it does use it does give you like a portrait thing. Like you have to mess with it a lot to get what you want. And that's what I find very interesting is that now, instead of like looking for the AI, I'm looking for what were the prompts that people are going for right now.
Yeah. What are the prompts that people are going for? And I wonder, because obviously it's an AI. Is I'm not sure what like framework these are on, whether they're neural nets or just something. But if they're learning, it is also going to be interesting to see how they develop. Yeah. Because if they learn better, and gosh, it's going to be funny because obviously that is another conversation to have here, which is less on, okay, well, how is AI art going to affect
itself?
How's AI art going to affect the VTuber community? How is the VTuber community going to affect AI art? Because
it already is. Apparently, like from the parent, this is like the biggest like prompt that you can put is the word masterpiece. For some reason, when you add the prompt masterpiece, it gives you more like what you're looking for. Is like a one character thing. Like I keep going through this. It's so fucking interesting to me. It's like what words like the AI is picking up on. Because so for those that don't know, just because you write an AI doesn't mean that it will start making whatever you want it to make. One thing is creating the algorithm. Then the other step of the whole process is training the algorithm. And to really get like the best results possible, you need both a good, really well thought out and executed algorithm, A, and then B, you need a shit ton of data, like massive terabytes of data, right? So that's why you could be a very smart individual. You could and group up with like other really smart, computer scientists and create like the most cool to like advanced and like state of the art, mathematical algorithm. The problem is if you don't have the data to feed into this algorithm, you are still not likely not get what you really want. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because absolutely I can tell you right now, the B2B community is affecting how this AI, or should be affecting how this AI is working, especially if the if the owners of this algorithm are feeding it a VTuber / anime art to train on.
100%. Because then it's going to become better at anime art, and then that art style is going to start pervading into all of the other aspects and elements of the
which is why I
AI,
find which is why I find the word masterpiece so funny to me to work so well. It's because there is something about the training set that this AI had that made it so that the word masterpiece correlated with what people wanted in terms of like anime art style. So that's why it's so weird in a sense, but also it also makes to me a lot of sense that words like masterpiece, photorealistic, let's see this guy wrote photorealistic twice to fit into the algorithm. Really like affect what the AI the anime looks of the art that the AI ends up generating, even though the art that was generated that this AI was trained on most likely was not a bunch of anime art like at all. Right? So it's like the just the amount of interest that's going behind this AI has kind of like made it so that people have managed to pick which ones are like the good prompts, which ones work, which ones don't. It is very interesting. And what sucks about this whole thing again is as fun and interesting as this is for me, I can see why this is also such a problem. Like 100% for artists that are trying to live off their art. It is a big threatening thing to their job effectively.
Who are worried and are I would say arguably reasonably worried about the fact that, oh man, like it could be not that long until these AI start taking clients.
I know, right? And this is already taking clients.
Because already
you can pay $10 and you get 100 credits to generate more AR with it.
Which, I mean, pay $10, get 100 credits, develop AI or develop art until you find something close to what you want. And so it's very interesting. It's a crazy thing to happen, I think.
We already live on the future. It's just that the only thing that we're missing is flying cars. That's it. But for all intents and purposes, we are living in the future right now in 2022 because we have cool things like this, right? And also whole advent of VR tech and all of this. Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what other crazy nonsense is going to show up later down the line. But I also feel like, as excited as I am about all of this, I do feel for those people out there whose jobs is threatened by this stuff. Like, I want to be very excited. I want to talk about this more. I want to go out and on Twitter and be like, this is actually so cool. But at the same time, there's so much negativity because of some people because just some bad apples, I want to say, have tried to pass this as their own art, but also the fact that it is something that threatens the livelihood of artists. It is tough. It's a mixed bag of feelings, that I'm having right now, for sure.
Absolutely. It's a it's a conundrum. It's a challenge because, like I said, you know, I love art and I love computers and I like where they intersect in the middle there. And this feels like it's a strange thing because I have many friends who are artists who, you know, and I don't think I have very many who actually make a living per se solely on it. But I know people who commissions are a fundamental part of their income, and that's kind of interesting. I know quite a few webcomic artists who do that, but I do think I wanted to mention that. I don't think this will ever affect their commissions, ironically enough, or certainly not as much, because most of their commissions are coming from people who follow the webcomic first, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're not really there for the
specific art style. Yeah, they want that
exactly. They want that specific art style, and not even just that specific art style. They want that specific art from that specific artist because it's the artist that they're connected with through the story of the webcomic, not just the art in general.
So I guess a good piece of advice for the people that feel threatened by AI art is make yourself unique enough that an AI cannot generate what you are doing. You know, okay. However, if an algorithm is fed enough of your art, then it could happen. However, like for example, there are so many art styles and so many people out there that, you know, the more unique you are, perhaps the less threatened you can be at the moment. By these algorithms. But that's the thing, you know, then eventually what, right? Eventually there will be tons of these algorithms that are more efficient and have even more data sets to work from. Eventually they'll be like, dude, this is working on a fucking website. I don't even have to download a program. But what if eventually there's just like, you know, would you just grab a bunch of like arts from a specific art, let's say from your webcomic friends, like I just plug in the webcomic panels into this AI and then it generates something like very similar to it. So that's tricky because now your portfolio, putting your portfolio out there also threatens said portfolio. Like it's so weird. Go on.
It is weird. I think probably my advice would be, if you're an artist who wants to not be threatened by these, more than make yourself unique, find a way, and like this is gonna sound kind of, I don't know, I guess manipulative in some ways, but not really. Find a way to connect with your audience through your art.
Yeah. So what you're trying to tell us, TILLY, is that B-tubing was the solution all along.
Yes, exactly. Become a VTuber.
It actually just become a VTuber. You guys heard it here first. If you don't want to be threatened as an artist, buy a computer, become a VTuber, and sell your personality as a content on top of your art as a content. So once you tie both together, it's a little harder to replicate by a machine.
Yeah. Or if you don't want to VTube because you feel like you don't have the charisma for that, start writing. Get good at writing and have a webcomic. Because here's the thing is, a webcomic with good writing, not amazing writing or great writing, a webcomic with good writing and decent art will always have a place. Because, AI is certainly not here yet. And I feel like AI will almost never get here, at least not in the near future. I don't think AI will advance far enough within my lifetime to be able to write a coherent story. Certainly not write a coherent story consistently that resonates with people. It is hard enough as a human to write a coherent story that resonates with people, let alone an AI. And I mean, like, I've read stories written by AI. And no matter, and this is one of the biggest things, is feeding AI more stories doesn't make the algorithm better.
No, it really doesn't.
It does not.
Because it hits like a certain point where it hits enough of a diminishing return that it just... See, I kind of understand how AI works a little bit, just from like having made one when I was in college, to the point where there are some human things that the AI cannot replicate. There's some nuance to it. Like that's the thing about AI. It cannot replicate the nuance of being alive, and that is something that's what writing is literally all about. Sure, if you feed an AI right now, at least, I don't know if somebody will come up with some fucking genius AI later down the line. Who knows? But like right now, if you feed an AI like all of the stories of your favorite author, let's say your author has like 20 books or 100 books, let's exaggerate it, maybe even 1,000, it will still not be able to create a consistent story. It will just go with what the data is. And they basically, the algorithm will not read between the lines. It can't. That's the catch. AI cannot read between the lines, right? Like one of the famous memes that I see sometimes floating around Twitter or Tumblr back in the day was the sentence, "I never said she stole my wallet." You know, in English, in the English language, depending on which word you accent, the sentence has 7 different meanings. I never said you stole my wallet means something different that I never said you stole my wallet. You know, those little things in between the lines that you cannot fill in. You cannot also fill in the blank with your own experience as a human. The AI cannot do any of that. It will simply look at the words objectively every single time and will not be able to generate that nuance of a narrative.
AI cannot generate like non-context clues. And it cannot... The other thing that I see so much in AI writing, which I've actually read quite a bit, is when you feed it so much content, the problem is that stories have to have arcs, and AIs can't seem to wrap their minds around like that aspect. And the more data you feed them, it doesn't get better, because the more data you feed an AI, the more it just wants to cram in. And so it's like, you know, you feed it all of the episodes of One Piece, you don't get another episode of One Piece.
Yeah, you don't get
all of the episodes of One Piece compressed into one episode of One Piece. And so because of that, it creates really sloppy, non-coherent writing. It's so hard to read and it makes no sense. And I think that I think that will always be true. I think visual representations are easier for AI. So, you know, as my recommendation goes, if you are an artist and you want to stay not just relevant per se, but you want to stay non-threatened by them, learn to write a little bit. You don't have to be the best writer. Or alternatively, find a writer who has an idea that you feel like you can work with. Because I know a bunch of people, like including myself, who like, I have a million ideas for webcomics that I could write. All I need is an artist to do art for them. That's all I need. Or the money to be able to pay an artist to do the artwork, which I don't have the money, and I don't... all of the artists that I know who wanted to work on stuff with me are too busy to have a reliable schedule. And some of the stuff that I ask for is very complicated art, and I get that. So I respect that. It's like, okay, you don't want to do this? Totally understand. 90% of the time, it's not I cannot do that. It is that's a crazy hard thing to draw, and you're asking me to do it for one panel in a webcomic. That's just too much. And I get that. So it's like, sometimes I have to dumb my ideas down, and then that ruins them and stuff like that. So it's like, find a writer who you can work with. I'm not one of them, probably because my ideas are a little too grandiose. I get that.
Okay.
But there are people out there who are really good at writing webcomics. It's you know, work with one other person, and then people will tie your artwork to you and to the story. And they, instead of having an emotional connection just with your artwork, which can be replaced by an AI fed enough information. They'll have a connection to you, your story, and the artwork, which makes them more connected to you than just to the art. And that's like that creepy, almost parasocial relationship there, unfortunately, is kind of the answer to that, I think. Because it's like...
it's one answer. Hold on.
It's one answer, yeah. It is one answer. Because it's like, now the emotional connection is to you, not just to your art. And you as a person they want to support, not just support your art because they like your art. And that's something that... And this is what I'll say, is if it feels too manipulative, don't do it that way, in the sense of like, I'm doing this to save myself. Do it because you'll create something cool. You'll create something that people will enjoy, inevitably. And it's like, I know, because I know artists who are good artists and all right writers who have thousands of fans that buy commissions from them regularly. And they make lots of money from those commissions simply because the people like the artist. And they could go get their commission from somebody cheaper, somebody else, but they don't want anybody else, because it's not about that. It's not about who's the cheapest. It's not about who is the best even. It's just about that person, because they like that person. They like what they stand for. They like what they say. They like their story. They like their personality. And so they go to that person. So that's my kind of thought on the subject. And I think that there will always be that in the art community. There will always be niches, per se, these people who have benefactors. I mean, just like, it's funny because it exists in Twitch too. It's what's his name? Finn, and I don't know, his sugar daddy.
Okay.
Finster, do you know about this?
No.
Okay, so Finster is a guy who is male, who cross-dresses on Twitch.
Okay.
And plays games. And the whole thing is, the cross-dressing was a challenge that he set. So if he got a certain amount of subs and donations, he would wear a dress for the stream. And then it did so well that when he started it, he just kept it rolling and kept increasing the amount of donations and subs that were required for him to keep doing it. And it's been 6 months.
Oh my God.
He streamed like 5 days a week for 6 months, I think. And every single stream, he meets the goal now. And so it's interesting because one specific person donates thousands upon thousands of dollars per month because they like his content and they like Finn as a person. And I think that's funny. It's very interesting. It's a very fascinating kind of thing. And that's existed in the art community. That's not new. That's existed in the art community for a very long time. Benefactors in the art community have been around for a really, really long time. So it's really interesting. That's how like all of like the medieval, not medieval, but the Renaissance art, like all those guys, they all had wealthy patrons who would give them money for them to do artwork. And then they would buy that artwork. So it's very funny. It's very interesting. He got capped for his donos at $3. Yeah.
Oh, really?
That sounds correct.
Yeah.
Anyways,
when you make it big, there's some wild things that happen for sure. But like that's nutty. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Get a benefactor.
Get a benefactor.
You're an artist. Okay. Get a patron.
Is that what we're calling them now? We're not using the S word anymore.
No, we're not using the S word.
Okay. Damn.
Twitch, I don't want Twitch to shadow ban me for the 11th time.
Is there shadow bans on Twitch?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have enough viewers to even tell. That's the honest
that
truth.
Is true.
That's the honest truth is I don't garner enough viewership to tell if I'm shadow banned or not, because I don't really bring in new viewers yet anyways all that often. So
yeah, well, hopefully you get to fix that with the whole, starting to farm, starting to stream, not farm. What am I saying?
Yeah, I'm starting to stream more. I'm gonna try to stream more often. I'm also gonna try to start cutting clips more.
Okay.
I need to upload podcast episodes.
Anyway. Let me know if you find a good way. Like, what software are you gonna be using to video edit?
I use Vegas.
Okay. What do you do for subtitles? Like, I'm using this program called. Hold on, let me see what it's called. Oh. Desktop.
I don't use subtitles.
Movavi. No, what? How are you not gonna use subtitles? Come on. Have you like not been paying attention to what VTuber clips look like at all?
For the clips. Yeah, I haven't done any. I haven't done very many clips for our podcast though yet. I haven't really done very many clips at all. I need to figure out
for the podcast
solution.
is different. For the podcast is different, but I would strongly recommend you because for us VTubers, the big like way that we get exposure sometimes is by these clippers. Because clips got very, very popular, especially since YouTube Shorts and like TikTok stuff, like they like VTubing and those platforms kind of became very popular at around the same time. So I remember first, like when I first started getting into VTubing, I got into it again not because I went and clicked on the channel, it's because I went and clicked on like a funny thumbnail of a clip of a VTuber, and I was like, oh my god, these people are actually quite fucking hilarious,
Yeah.
So you should go and look at, like, try to learn a little bit more about what that culture is like, because just from what you've told me, I get the feeling that you have no clue what I'm saying when I ask you, what kind of subtitles are you gonna be using and whatnot, because they're always they're always subtitled. And it has to do with clips, like it has to do with the appeal to it, right? Because a lot of fans are people that happen to not speak English or Japanese, right? Like that's the funny thing, is like these benefactors that you speak of, these fans of VTubers, the large majority of them, as funny as that sounds, are people who don't speak Japanese or English, right? Like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you should definitely see, because when
are you doing like multilingual subs? Is that what's going on?
Well, not that so much, because what I'm trying to get to is there's a specific clippers for specific languages already as is. Like Gagura has like Spanish, has a bunch of Spanish clippers, right? And like the corporate VTubers all have like clippers that will clip them in a specific language, and then these clippers get so many views. It's insane. Which really opened my eyes to realizing that, hey, the people that like VTubing are like, people that are not part of like American culture.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the big thing. That's like the big culture clash that has been happening in the past few years with VTubing, is that the American demographic is not part of the whole VTubing culture to begin with, but clippers were the ones who kind of like help it bring it to mainstream alongside with English corporate VTubers like the whole life EN girls and whatnot. So and then the whole reason I'm even bringing any of this up again is because I tried making my own clips, and I have my own clips on my YouTube channel, but the subtitles are a big pain in the ass. For when I go look at other clippers, I know for a fact that they're not using like fancy video editing softwares like you and I. They're actually using something else entirely, and I think it's like some sort of website where they just upload the video, pass it through, and then they get the
I think it might be CapCut.
Yeah. I think I was looking at that too. I think it might be CapCut as well.
I think it might be CapCut.
I'm looking at the little effects that they're putting on like subtitles and stuff like that. And I feel a little silly now because I bought this like software, and it feels like I'm trying to like kill a fly with a cannon, if that makes sense. It's like,
I wonder if I can use my editing software to create the clip and then put it in CapCut just to do subs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But I haven't done any of that yet, so that's why I was asking what were you planning to do.
I don't know. I'll have to look into it because I like I said, I think I created one clip on TikTok so far.
It is nuts, dude. One of the clips that I made has like blew up overnight and had like 3,000 views. And for me, thousands of views is blowing up for sure.
Yeah,
but
it would be for me too.
But I look at my clips here in Twitch, and they have like 30, 20 views, and I'm happy for that, of course. Yeah. But when you compare that in terms of like how many more views you just get from like a TikTok or a YouTube video or a YouTube short, it just doesn't compare. We're talking about orders of magnitudes of difference here. Yeah. If you wanna make it as a VTuber, it really, really, really feels like you need to get into shorts and or TikToks and or Instagram and stuff like that. Like you just have to.
100%.
And what's funny,
I think
funny is I hear people. Sorry, just to change the subject, I hear people like complaining about how TikTok's being overrun by VTubers, but it's you guys. You guys are the ones who keep watching this shit. So.
Yeah. It's just like the people who complain about like the Reddit AIs on it, and I'm like, listen, like, and I get it because I get mad at them too sometimes, but then I'm like, but I also sit down and I listen to HFYs at 3 a.m, and then I go to their page because I'm like, I want to hear this whole story, and I'm far too lazy to go look it up on Reddit. Like, that's so much work. I just want to listen to this guy read it out loud in an AI voice. I don't give a fuck. And so it's like, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, well, if you want YouTubers to stop being on your For You page, don't watch them, and they won't be on your For You page. But you're watching them, and that's the problem. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Okay, I'm generating one piece of AI here.
Okay.
It looks nothing like me at all.
Oh yeah, send it to me. I'll put it on stream.
I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have like a little pole. I'm like in an edgy forest. You know what? This edgy forest, I kind of like it. It's like I'm probably gonna have to use that as a background.
Yeah.
But see, that's the cool thing. It's like when I need like not necessarily like a straight up full-blown drawing of myself, like I can still commission somebody else, but let's say I can kind of like save up a little bit on this, if that makes sense, by going to just asking for a portrait and then generating the background as with AI. Yeah, look at that, that's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. They certainly made you a child for some reason.
They made me a child. Yeah. I think it's because I read it. Yeah. I put the word boy in, and I shouldn't have done that. So
yeah, you should put man
instead. I put male, but let's see, man, and try to like let's see. There's a bold button here. Share, report, publish via print. No, that's none of it.
Let me get it up on this stream here. All right. This is the AI artwork that he generated. Look at that. It's a baby Hallik.
It's a baby Hallik, yeah.
It's a young Hallik.
So I messed up. I added the word boy, and now look, I'm like a little kid. Yeah. That's hilarious.
It is. It's very funny. AI art will definitely be interesting. I wonder what mistakes it'll make. I don't know. I kind of want to go mess around with AI art now and just feed a shit ton of like space drawings into it and just see what comes out the other end.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna bold it. So I took out the word boy and put out the word man, and let's see what it comes up with. Oh yeah, no, that did not work at all. It looks like a complete fucking mess of nonsense. So something fucked up along the way.
Yeah. I also wonder if, in the same way, if you add, like, it's gonna get cluttered if you add too many contexts.
Yeah, but I was looking at see what I was doing here is that I was looking at this subreddit and I found something about around the lines of what I want to see,
Uh-huh.
and then I just use similar prompts,
Right.
and then that's what generated. So it looks like they're using anywhere between 15 to 20 prompts for each of these artworks, which is quite cool. The only thing that I'm missing, I think, is because I don't have a whole lot of art of my model. So because I only have like the model itself, right? I don't have any fan art of it or any what's the word? Or any commissioned art of it. I can't really like guide the AI to help me make more of it because I only have one source picture. So at the same time, it's like it's kind of like I already need to have commissioned a lot of people to even generate more art with set commissions. So
where is Yume's fan art of you when you need it? You know.
I know. I asked her if if I could commission her for some emotes, and she said no, that she's a little too busy right now. So I am looking forward to commissioning more stuff because I want to make a song cover and upload it to YouTube. I think that's what I've decided that I'm gonna do with my YouTube channel. Is that instead of making my YouTube channel for YouTube Shorts, I'm gonna have TikTok for that, and then my YouTube is gonna be like song covers that I really, really want to do, and then my Twitch is just for my gaming nonsense, right? That's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. But
that sounds good.
Yeah,
I think Yume's too busy drawing Nahida from Genshin
Impact. I think she gave up on that little project of hers. She's doing some other stuff now. Yeah, probably she doesn't play Genshin. She just the thing is that Nahida came out, and then Twitter was like flooded with Nahida fan art. So
I remember. I was on Twitter. I don't even follow Genshin Impact anything. I follow you and I think like one other person that plays Genshin, and still I got inundated with Nahida stuff, and I'm like, I don't even play this game.
She became like the single most profitable character that MiHoYo ever released.
Yeah,
like it even beat Raiden Shogun. It is crazy. It beat Raiden Shogun's day one banners iOS sales in the Chinese market. So that's kind of like how people are, or how they're measuring success. When I look at these Reddit threads, it's like they look at the first 24 hours of a banner, and in the iOS Chinese market. And Raiden Shogun had like 19 million sales, $90 million worth of sale, and then Nahida had like 20 million, which was crazy. It was nutty. It's absolutely nuts. So yeah, play Genshin Impact, fun game.
Or don't.
If you don't, you're gonna regret it. Fun game. Tully, you would like Genshin Impact. Jesus fucking Christ, man! Like the more that I play this game, especially as of late, oh my god, the storylines lately have been so cool, so good.
I believe
you would appreciate it. You would appreciate it as somebody who's writing their own story, somebody who's creating a world, someone who's world building. You would have. I would feel at the very least you would have an extra level of appreciation for Genshin Impact that most people wouldn't. So I think you're missing out for not playing and just trying to meme me over every other.
Don't worry, only 25 more podcast episodes.
I should have fucking set the bar a little lower than that, honestly.
But now it's part of the lore. We have to wait. We have to wait. It's part of the lore.
I listened to it. I would not be upset with you if you were to decide to play Genshin Impact before episode.
I would be upset with you.
I would not. I would forgive you. From the bottom of my heart, Tully, I would forgive you for playing Genshin Impact. Honestly, I kind of want to drop it to like 40.
Yeah.
Just to like Yeah. Can we do that? Can we drop it to 40 episodes? Is that
40 episodes?
Okay? Yeah.
Sure.
Can we have a little middle ground here? Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Let's drop it to 40.
40 episodes. All right. It's
40th episode. After the 40th episode of the stream, if on that day I will stream Genshin for the first time right after the podcast. And you'd better fucking be in my chat, Hallik.
I will.
Or like stay in VC with me.
Yeah, that's what I was planning to do.
Yeah,
no, actually, episode 41 of the podcast is just us playing Genshin.
I think that would be a terrible episode.
It doesn't matter. You know what?
Maybe 40.5. Make it a Patreon special.
Shut the fuck up. Listen to me. If we made 40 fucking episodes of this goddamn podcast, and there's people still listening to us to the 40th episode, episode 41, I think they would forgive us for just being us playing Genshin Impact in the podcast.
I don't know. Listen, if that would be okay.
Yeah, I think it would be okay because they would be so far down the rabbit hole that is this podcast at that point that they would not. We wouldn't lose anybody worth losing.
I'm not even sure about I'm not even worried about the viewers. I'm worried about what are our I don't know. What is Spotify gonna do with that?
Dude, it's a podcast.
It'd be weird.
It's a podcast. We're just gonna narrate what we're doing. And guess what? Like, if anybody is like super curious about it, let's say that this episode, right? Let's say that this episode was us playing Genshin Impact for the first time. Was you playing Genshin Impact for the first time? If anybody wants to understand the context of what we're talking about, guess what, motherfuckers? Genshin Impact is a free-to-play game. Yeah,
and it's a free-to-play game. We're also on YouTube, which is an audio visual format, not just audio. So for those of you who want that aspect, who want to see our VTuber faces
you're
around,
worrying about like the dumbest thing, honestly. You're worrying about perfection in this scuffed ass fucking podcast.
I am not worrying about perfection. I'm worrying about content. I want to create content that people want to consume. It is
such content.
I am gonna laugh because we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be our most viewed podcast.
That's exactly what I was gonna tell you.
Even in audio format.
It's gonna be like
hate it.
The most content we could possibly put in one episode of the podcast would be just Tully and I playing Genshin. Like I'm calling it right now. Oh my god. See,
right.
I have no idea why you're so against this idea. It sounds better the more I talk about it.
Okay. Well, we'll have to do it, but not until
the 41st. Yeah.
40 catch us here in like I don't know
a year from now. Yeah. Because that's about what it took us
little
to
less
get
than
to
a
episode
year.
20. Yeah.
Yeah, a little less than a year. Unless we start getting more guests, then it could happen much more rapidly.
It could.
Which
which we did.
I don't know about next week. I might be able to do next week with Spark. We might do that next week, or I might get Wacoon on next week. Wacoon wants to be on the podcast, but every time I schedule it with her, she's playing Fortnite during that time then.
Clearly,
it makes me mad.
She clearly has her priorities set up straight, Tully. Like, come on.
I don't think so. She's not even streaming Fortnite. She's just playing Fortnite.
Sounds to me like you need better friends. Oh my god.
Wacoon.
Okay. Yeah, we're memeing on this person. I've never even spoken with her.
That's fine. That's fine. You've met Wacoon for sure.
I think in your Discord, right?
No. You've met Wacoon on VR chat.
Oh, in VR chat. Oh, I haven't talked to anybody in VR chat in such a long time. I haven't even logged in.
Wacoon is another person that I met on VR chat. And I met her in that same group I was rolling with when I met you. So I'd be very surprised if you haven't at least met Wacoon once.
Probably once, yeah, because the name doesn't sound too familiar.
Yeah.
Is that the name? Does she goes by in VR chat?
Yeah.
Okay, no, yeah, it doesn't sound familiar. I'm sorry to Wakun
No,
if I've
it's
actually
okay.
haven't had a full conversation with her.
She was obsessed with Among Us for like ever.
Oh yeah, didn't the Among Us VR thing came out recently?
Yeah.
It actually looks quite fun. Because for the longest
Yeah.
time there was the VR chat mod for Among Us, and that was very successful.
Yeah.
But it had its like little bits and pieces of scuff. So I would like to play Among Us VR and see how they managed or to iterate on the
I
game.
would rather Among Us VR. The VR chat Among Us game is scuffed, but that's just because everything in VR chat is scuffed.
It's scuffed, yeah.
VR chat is just the most scuffed game of all time.
Yeah. Absolutely,
and they implemented easy anti-cheat.
Oh, they sure did, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about, and now I learned that easy anti-cheat is even worse than I thought. You want to know why?
Why?
This is actually something I'll talk about. Two more things that are a little bit tech nerdy here, but
that's okay. We still have some time to learn.
Yeah. One of them is about the kerfuffle that's going on Twitter right now, which I find hysterical. But the main one is easy anti-cheat is kernel level 0.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So that means that it has priority access to all data on your computer.
Oh,
literally everything. It is kernel level 0. So that means that it has easy anti-cheat, has direct control over not just your software. Easy anti-cheat has direct control over your hardware.
Like, I'm pretty sure like that's the level of like things that not even like antiviruses have access to sometimes.
Yes, exactly. And the reason why antiviruses don't have access to it is not because they can't, it's because it's a security risk. They don't want that access because it creates a security risk. And so it's crazy to me that easy anti-cheat...
If somebody were to like find a way, so okay, this is so bad, dude. Just like the more I think about it, it's just, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but I do have some knowledge of how kernels work. So you're telling me that in a game where you can upload just about the entire game, you could inject something into easy anti-cheat to like fuck with people's computers so hard right now then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
if it
God,
ever gets if EAC and there are a couple others like it that are kernel level 0 anti-cheat systems, if they ever get breached,
it's
it's gonna be a shit fest, and it's gonna be massive. So I don't know why they're kernel level 0. They need to find something else. Anyways, the other thing that's going on right now that I think is funny, that's a little bit devy, which Index actually asked me about and sent me a TikTok about it because it's been going around TikTok. So Elon Musk bought Twitter, right? So we'll talk about that.
Right.
That whole thing went through. Yes. Right now, the production version of Twitter, if you open up your console, there are going to be a shit ton of errors. Because the production version of Twitter is actually a dev build right now. That has references to internal twitter.local files. But you don't have access to them.
So their entire framework just got leaked, like the way that their framework is
pretty much, yeah.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
Functionally, this is a problem because those tools shouldn't even have access. Like, you shouldn't even know what their names are or where they're located on Twitter's network. So Twitter basically just doxed their whole network to the world.
Yeah.
Because every page on Twitter is trying to request these dev tools that are built into the Twitter local network. And anybody with any sense of technology can go in and just pull the file location. And then all they have to do is get access to Twitter, which obviously isn't easy. Like, it's not like a huge security vulnerability, but it's still a problem.
It will eventually be a problem. Somebody was going to figure it out. That's the thing.
Also, stacked on top of this is dev builds usually have backdoors intentionally programmed into them to allow access for devs. So if somebody figures out one of those backdoors, that's a problem too.
That's a problem.
So it's like,
just for a little bit of context for our viewers that have not perhaps are checking this episode for the first time, but have not seen. TILLY is a network guy, and I am a computer scientist, so we know some of these words.
Yeah,
like we're not going in completely blank, but go on, TILLY, go ahead.
This is what I'll say. After I heard about this, I didn't have 2FA activated on any of my Twitter accounts prior to this.
I am so
this
glad
news got leaked, and I immediately activated 2FA on both of my Twitter accounts that I have access to.
No, yeah, I'm glad that not only did I put I didn't put like my actual information on Twitter, but I had 2FA activate on it since like the start.
Yeah. So my suggestion to you, to everybody who watches this or listens to this, if you have a Twitter account, go activate two-factor authentication with your cell phone number or an authentication app.
Yo, I just realized something. So do you know this Twitter Blue thing that's going on?
Yes. Yeah.
You have to pay $8. You have to pay $8 for it, meaning that you at some point you have to put your credit card information in. So if you activate Twitter Blue and then you don't, and then somebody finds a backdoor, they could get access to so many credit cards because it's saved. I bet the payment information is saved on Twitter. There's no way that they don't do that. So, because I haven't done it, but there's no. If you go to my Twitter right now, you can see I don't have the blue checkmark. I couldn't give two flying fucks for it.
Yeah.
But the tons of people do. And it's double bad for like VTubers because a lot of these people are like girls who don't want to get doxxed, right? That's why they became a VTuber in the first place. And like imagine this, dude. This gets leaked and then all of a sudden there's like entire fucking corporate VTubers getting doxxed over this shit. This is a bit of a problem.
Well, along with that, I'm pretty sure Twitter Blue is not going to be around for much longer.
Oh, so
I think it's being removed.
Somebody in chat just mentioned they're no longer. Index in chat is mentioning they are no longer letting people subscribe to Twitter Blue at the moment due to the issue that's been having with verifying accounts. Oh, okay, cool. But I mean, in a sense, the damage
do you
is
know
already
about that?
done.
That's pretty hysterical. Yeah, the damage is already done.
Tell me about it in a second. Tell me about it in a second. But hold on. But what I'm trying to say is usually what happens is people or the public doesn't get to know when a leak happens until months after said leak already occurred. So if, like for all we know, all this shit could have already been leaked by some really, really, really smart motherfucker who figured this out day one and started working on it day one. So it's not good news. Please go ahead, TILLY.
Okay, so what's going on with the Twitter Blue is a bunch of people decided to go ahead and create accounts to impersonate other people, subscribe, and then get the verified checkmark. And so, like, for example,
hilarious.
So, well, like, and here's the thing: is this is one of my favorite stories. Is do you know about the Lilly Eli company?
No.
They're a pharmaceuticals company. They're the primary manufacturer of insulin in the U.S. And
I have some context now. Okay.
Somebody created a fake account very similar to theirs, verified it, and then announced on Twitter that they were going to be giving away insulin for free to everybody from now on.
Oh my god. What a shit show that must have been.
Yeah, and then Lilly Eli announced, no, that's not happening. But those two tweets affected the stock price of the publicly traded Eli Lilly company by like 60 to 70% drop.
That's insane.
They literally devalued the company in 3 tweets. And the third tweet was when the first account got banned, the same guy made a third account, verified it under Twitter Blue again.
Oh my god.
Impersonated the Lilly Eli company, and then said, and here's the context behind this, which is the guy who invented insulin, by the way, the scientist, released the patent of insulin for free to everybody.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Okay. Yep. And now they're charging for it, obviously. So his idea was, well, we can cure diabetes basically if we just get everybody insulin, or not cure it, but you can treat it functionally for a very long period of time for most people if they get insulin, right? For, I think it's type 2 diabetes. I can't remember. I don't want to get too far into that because I'm not a medical person. Anyways, gotcha. So he released it for free. And then, of course, the Lilly Eli company comes in and they start manufacturing it and they kind of corner the market. And now, because of them, partially, not entirely, but partially, that's the problem with the cost of insulin in most countries, and particularly in the US right now. But then they tweeted like, nope, as the Lilly Eli company, we're no longer going to be giving away this product that was given to everybody for free by the person who invented it. Like that. Yeah. And that also devalued the stock price, because it devalued it once by them saying, we're going to give it away for free, devalued it even more when they said, nope, that was a mistake. We're not giving it away for free.
Right? Well, it wasn't actually a day.
Yeah. Well, when the fake account said that devalued their stock once. When they said, no, we're not doing that, that devalued their stock again. And then when the third tweet came out roasting them for charging exorbitant amounts for a product that the person who invented wanted to be free anyways, once again devalued their stock a third time. So their stock just kept on dropping at each tweet correction. And so it's been a mess like that.
Two things to take from this.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Stocks are gambling. They're a form of gambling, no matter how you look at it.
For sure.
Like, it was fucking annoys me so hard about this whole thing too, is that when I worked at a bank, professional bankers who've been working on banking for decades,
right,
recommend their clients, hey, get stocks, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you have a very big portfolio, a diverse portfolio is very beneficial to you. You know, don't keep all your eggs in one basket. But like, it kind of like, it kind of like lends into the fact that, or to start thinking about stocks as more than just like basically a gamble. Like, sure, there's like, everybody was gonna say like, yeah, but there's always like the big companies like Apple this and like Google that, and like, you know, those are good investments, blah 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 blah. Sure, but like, it lends credence to this whole like thing with stocks, especially which in relation to this. That's kind of like how Bitcoin became big too, right?
Yeah.
At first, it was like a little, you know, I remember Bitcoin costing like $500, like in the early 2010s, right?
Yep.
Then it exploded to the price that it did explode to. It kind of like, in a similar sense, it's like the same thing with stocks. It's like stocks are getting more and more popular now, but people are forgetting that they're not an asset that's easy to liquidate. It's not an asset that's like that has a stable value. Imagine, dude. Like going to the bank. Let's say you have like a savings account and you've been working for a long time and your savings account is pretty big and you're trying to expand your portfolio, and the fucking banker in front of you tells you, hey, invest in this insulin company. They've been growing really, really well for like a long period of time. And then some fucking guy on Twitter makes a fake account, posts like 2 tweets, and all of a sudden, like, you lose 60% of the value on whatever you invested on this. It's so funny to me because I've worked in banking. I know these conversations. I understand, you know, when people come in and sit with like a fucking investment banker, I'm just like, oh my god. Like I've had actual investment bankers come up to me and be like, why are you not investing in stock? Like with a straight face. It's like, you're a young guy. You should invest in stocks. Why haven't you like bought some Apple stocks or this or that? And like, dude, some fucking celebrity can just make a drama tweet about Apple and all of a sudden like that can affect the price of it.
Yeah.
Like, some motherfucker can like make a tweet. And then that has something to say on my savings. Like you guys, you people are nuts. You're actually nuts. Anybody who has most of their fucking assets into stocks, you're psychopaths, every single one of you. You need to not. You need to just stop. That's my hot take. All right, let's not talk about boring things like banking. Tully, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about before we close?
I would like to say Michael Reeves' stock goldfish is one of the artists of our time. Do you know about this?
Person? No, this is news.
Okay, so Michael Reeves is one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. Okay, he made a video where he challenged a stock trader, like one of those, YouTube stock traders who's like, I make money selling stocks, right? And then shares his advice with people on the internet.
Right. Biggest fucking scam.
To see who was better at trading stocks, Michael Reeves or this guy. And you know how Michael Reeves decided to trade stocks?
How?
He created a program that will watch a goldfish.
Oh, I have heard
of this. And the
this.
goldfish will go left and right, and whether the goldfish is in the left side of the tank or the right side of the tank determines whether or not it sells or buys a specific stock at a certain point of time. And guess what? The goldfish won.
Made more money. Oh my God.
The goldfish made more money than the professional stock trader because, like everything, when it comes to trading stocks, luck and randomness will get you more results in gambling than trying to play the odds will. If you try to play the odds and play your cards right, quote unquote, you'll lose. It's same thing as like gambling in a casino, in the idea of if you gamble in a casino, the house always wins unless you're lucky.
Right. And if you're too lucky, they escort you out.
Exactly. And so, same thing with stocks. The house always wins. The companies make money. That's who makes money.
Yeah.
You, as somebody who owns stocks, you are secondary, and the house always wins. So someday, if it comes down to it, and the company is fucked, as a stockholder, usually you're the last to get paid out. So it's like if the company goes down, you lose all that money. And that's happened a lot of times. I mean,
you're the one that gets stuck holding the bag. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So it's crazy. It's very interesting. My 401k is 50-50, split 50-50 between stocks and bonds. Mm-hmm. And that's what most people should do. Because stocks do appreciate in value, but they're volatile. Bonds appreciate in value much slower, but they're much less volatile.
And also the other thing about stocks too is that it's a long-term thing. Like you should like the best piece of advice that I've ever heard when it comes to like stocks in general, it's just invest in a company that you personally believe in. Like that you personally like want to see succeed, that you have some sort of emotional attachment to, like that. For example,
is why I'll never invest in Apple.
Yeah, me neither. No, I don't want to stock invest. If I ever invest in a company, honestly, the only time that I would ever do such a thing is if like it's a friend's company that's going public, and I know this person personally, and I know that they're not some fucking jackass. That's the only time I'd ever buy stocks. Honestly, I don't see myself ever fucking investing in that.
Yeah,
shit.
I don't think I would buy stocks. However, I did offer everybody who wants to support me, which please. If I ever become famous on any platform ever, and start making enough money, I'm going to be a shareholder. Not really a shareholder. I'm going to financially help my friend start a cat cafe. She really wants to start a cat cafe.
Listen, okay.
Yeah.
Got you. See, that's something cool. That's something cool. Sure, not everybody knows the next fucking CEO of Apple, but like,
yeah,
I personally think those are like the best kind of stocks to invest in. In my dumb, naive opinion that does not matter whatsoever, that nobody listens to, I would rather invest on that cat cafe than on Apple.
Same.
Tully. We are at almost 2 hours. I think we can call it here because we have a call up to attend to in like an hour or so.
Yes, we do. And I imagine that you probably... Have you eaten food yet?
No, I was gonna
Okay.
try to do it, but then I had a bunch of technical issues. You saw.
Yes. I have already eaten, so you need to go eat. So, okay. That seems like a good plan. Well, oh no.
Oh my God,
Nox just got here.
Oh,
well,
my.
you know what, Nox? Be back in an hour.
Yeah.
Because we'll be live again in an hour for the collab of the century. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be bigger than anything Mr. Beast has ever done.
Oh my God. So, but for those that don't know, I made friends with another VTuber friend called Angel on Twitter, and she mentioned she wanted to play Pico Park. And then a little light bulb in my head lit up and was like, Pico Park. I think I've heard of this game before. And then remembered that TILLY, a few podcast episodes ago, mentioned that he really liked playing Pico Park. And I just tagged TILLY in a reply of that, and all of a sudden now there's 8 VTubers that apparently are gonna get together in like an hour and a half to play Pico Park. So that was fun. I'm completely expecting insane levels of scuff, and for at least
it's gonna be chaotic.
2 or 3 people to not even show up. So
I think 2 or 3 people might even not show up. I will be there, and I will be sabotaging all of you. Be prepared.
Can't wait.
It's gonna be content. Don't worry about it. It'll be a great time. Anyways,
I have never played Pico Park. I've only watched little bits and pieces, but yeah, I can't wait. TILLY, where can we find? Tell me.
I have, okay. You can find us. You can find the podcast anywhere podcasts are found, as well as YouTube, Chatting in the Void. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pod Addict, whatever you're on. We're there. And if we're not there and you want to listen to us there, let me know and I'll figure out how the fuck to get us there. I'm good at that.
He's done it already, so believe him.
Yeah, I've already done it for like one person who wanted to listen on an obscure platform, and I got us on that platform. Anyways, please do. We love your listens. It doesn't matter. 1 person, 2 people. I don't care. I like talking. And if you like listening to me talk, I'm really happy about that. Anyways, for me personally, you can find Chatting in the Void as well on Twitter and on TikTok. You can find me on Twitter, on TikTok at CthulhuTilly. You can find me on Instagram at CthulhuTilly as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the main content. But yeah, Hallik, where can we find you?
Well, I always stream Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at twitch.tv/Hallik_VT. I also have a YouTube channel by the same name. It's funnily enough, TILLY, you know how we in our podcast YouTube channel you cannot name your URL yet because you need a certain amount of views?
Yes.
You can't have custom URLs until you get a certain amount.
You can do the handle now though. The handle works. Yeah,
the handle works. But I got that unlocked because of the one Noxuda clip that I did. The YouTube short views does count towards that. So, get in there, man. Anyways, good. You guys can find me on Twitch. You guys can find me on YouTube. I am not on TikTok yet, but I am looking forward to getting in there. Although I don't agree with TikTok as a platform, but I still gotta do it. So yeah, I also have a Discord server. You guys can find me there. In also Twitter, right? I've become quite active on Twitter.
As have I. Yeah. Follow us there.
Yeah,
Twitter is actually a fun place to be right now.
It really is. It's such a shit show. I love it.
Yeah.
It's the funniest dumpster fire I have participated in a long time. And I'm glad I'm part of it.
Same here.
So find me on Twitter at Hallik25. That's my handle there.
Oh, right. Silesia Jace, thank you so much for stopping by. We're actually just stopping the podcast.
Oh my god! Thank you so much.
Got a bunch of people right here to the very end. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm trying to get the shout out command working. But of course, Silesia is also, I don't know if that's how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I've actually never talked to that person in person.
Mispronouncing viewers' names is what we do best as content creators.
That is true. Suzupoi and Silesia are going to be part of the collab that is happening in like an hour. It's going to be a super fucking fun time. Please join us. It'll be great. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Your emotes are adorable. thank you for being here. But yeah, catch our podcast on Spotify or YouTube. If you want to listen to what we just talked about. It was pretty funny and a little bit scuffed and also a little bit technical and might make you scared, but that's okay. So yeah, thanks for showing up. Have a great night, guys.
What chatting in the void is all about. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We appreciate you listening to Chatting in the Void with Cthulhu, Tilly, and Hallik. You can find a video version of our podcast on YouTube and our audio podcast anywhere where podcasts are found. Go give Hallik a follow at twitch.tv/Hallik_VT, and please check out any guests we might have had on. You can catch our podcast live at 7 p.m. EST most Saturdays or sometimes Sundays. If you want to know when we are live, please join our Discords linked below. Have a wonderful day, or night, or whatever. Thank you for joining us in the void. We hope to see you next time.